is. And we all talk about the establishment. Sulaiman is one of the most vocal people I know talking about the establishment, and we me and him fight a lot about it. And he talks about how much influence it has, and I kind of dismiss it in a way. Well, in Pakistan, it goes to a whole new level. I know some people like to compare what's happening in Pakistan and to Mr. Khan to what's happening to Donald Trump, but as I've said to them, it's another level. What's happening in Pakistan is something that is very far from the democracy in the US, and you struggle, or at least some people struggle to call Pakistan a democracy. Now, there's two sides to this. Others say this is democracy in action, but a lot of people cannot neglect, at least in the last few weeks and months, that it's difficult to call it a democracy. But at least that's my personal opinion. Sulaiman, Danish, I'd love to get your thoughts on what I've said so far and the space we have planned today.
Yeah, for me, I think the largest or major issue was what you're referring to, and that is censorship. And the second aspect of it that is highly concerning is a political party or those who are in power use that power to essentially ensure that their rivals are unable to stand for election, which is the case for Imran Khan. And the second thing is that they persecuted to such an extent both the members of the party as well as that's what was surprising for me, to the extent where you're ensuring that the person who has the largest number of following is unable to stand in a fair election. The second aspect of it, what I found completely baffling this week that I only found out about, was that Imran Khan had not only been completely censored in the media, but more than that, they weren't even able to mention his name. I just find that highly ridiculous. And we would never have this kind of scenario in the Western world. So those are just a couple of initial thoughts I have that I found that are problematic.
Just imagine on the last point, Clement, on the last point you said, I just want to highlight it. The last point. Imagine talking about Trump, but none of the media outlets can mention Trump's name or Biden or anybody, or we cannot say it here. We can say, I think the way they say it in Pakistan and Suli, I want you to continue. But imagine in we're speaking here and we call Trump the father of Donald Trump Jr., or we can't say Donald Trump Jr. either, or the ex-member of the TV show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. But Sulaiman, continue, please.
Yeah, and just to continue with your analogy, the shocking part was where family members are targeted. So it's like, for example, Eric Trump or Melania Trump being targeted in the same manner, just because you don't want him to stand. But not just that, people in the, for example, imagine, like Giuliani's family being targeted. And so that's the extent of which I found highly shocking this week when I looked into the issue.
I appreciate it.
Danish, initial thoughts?
Danish, yeah, I'll give you initial thoughts and I'd welcome Mr. Khan on stage. But first, Danish, would love to get your thoughts on the show we have today.
You know, what's absolutely challenging in this moment is seeing how the Pakistani people are being treated during this whole issue. The economic meltdown that has occurred over the past few weeks, how internet has been put down in Pakistan, and we've got to take a second back and say, wow, like this is what's happening to the Pakistani people right now. So I'm being honored that Prime Minister Imran Khan is here to talk about his experience.
I will start with the intro. So Mr. Khan, you are the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, and arguably, or in my opinion at least, you're the biggest name in the country right now. Faced multiple assassination attempts. It actually took me a while to search and find more information about all of them. There's been so many. And the most recent one was less than a year ago, where you were shot in the leg and almost shot in the head. You're currently facing over 150 charges, including treason, corruption, murder, and terrorism. You were ousted, some say overthrown, just over. This was the first time in history a prime minister in Pakistan moved through a no confidence vote. You're also currently facing 2 arrest warrants that are non-bailable. That was only issued 2 days ago. And we've also heard that your lawyer was possibly kidnapped 6 days ago. I would like to welcome you on stage, Mr. Khan. It's a pleasure to have you, and I appreciate you making the time. Would love to get your thoughts and the latest developments, especially on the latest developments, Mr. Khan.
Mario, it's a pleasure being on the show. I look forward to your questions. And your introduction, long introduction, was pretty accurate. So I look forward to your questions.
My questions will initially focus on you as a person, but before doing so, everyone in the world, Pakistan is a nuclear power. It's the fifth most populous country in the world and has the sixth largest army in the world, with some say hostile neighbors. Mr. Khan, how did a country with such a large population and such a large military, how did it get to where we are today? And where do you see Pakistan heading?
Well, Mario, look, in the 60s, when I was in school, Pakistan was considered one of the fastest growing economies in the developing world, and especially in Asia. It was given as an example of a country which was ahead of the other countries in development. And Pakistan's development model was taken by other countries like South Korea at the time and Malaysia. So where did we go wrong? We went wrong if in a lot of things we did wrong. We didn't pay attention to our human beings. Countries develop when you develop your human beings, invest in your human capital. But where we went wrong is that we never ever had rule of law. Now, rule of law means that the powerful are under the law, the weak are protected from the powerful. And the difference, and this is my experience all over the world, especially when I went as a teenager to the United Kingdom, the difference between the poor countries and the rich countries is one. Rich countries have rule of law, level playing field. Rule of law gives them freedom, gives the people rights. And it's that freedom that makes communities prosper. The problem with the developing world is that, like Pakistan, there's one law for the powerful, they're above law, and the majority of the population do not have access to justice. They do not have their fundamental rights protected. And as a result, they don't have a level playing field. So therefore, you have these tragedies now where people are gone, illegal immigrants get on these boats, try to get to countries which have rule of law, which are prosperous. And invariably, you find the immigrants going from countries where there is poor law enforcement, rule of law, to countries which have rule of law and are prosperous. So where did Pakistan go wrong? I'm afraid we never, the were brought under the law. And so, I'm afraid that's what's kept us from achieving our potential.
Mr. Khan, you've got the world watching right now, and most people don't